Welcome everybody back to RT Talk, our three-way edition. The devil's threesome right now.
The triple threat is what I was going to say, but whatever.
We are here joined by our frequent special guest, but someone I'm trying to coerce into being on the podcast much more, who didn't even want to be on camera, and now is, I would say, 60% on camera?
I told you I would be on camera.
Well, you were hesitant to do it, but we're here, so...
I showered last night, so I'm clean. So.
Okay, good. Thank you for preparing ahead of time.
You're welcome.
You gotta fit it in the budget to get her own laptop and camera.
Well, this is right now what we have is a temporary setup, so hopefully by the next episode we'll have a better setup than this and show our own microphone and everything. But for now, we're sharing a microphone, and about half our face will be showing in my camera. But this is RT Talk. This is our podcast where we talk about Rooster Teeth. It is a bi-weekly show now. She's looking at me. If you are a fan of us, we have a podcast called Out in the Grapes that is on the same RSS feed as this podcast that comes out every single Wednesday. This week's episode, I'm based on the title, you already know this, but we're going to be talking about Ryan getting banned from Twitch. That's, I would say, our biggest story. We're going to talk about Kent Cook, who is a behind-the-scenes kind of producer character for AH.
Yeah, I think he edits a lot of videos still, too.
So he's leaving AH, but in a positive way. An update on Monty's brother that we talked about for the GoFundMe. We'll talk about Red Web Radio, Real Canon, and a Ruby and DC Comics crossover that'll be happening. And then we'll probably talk about Dead Little Roosters a little bit too, because Renee and I have been watching it. So that is the plan as of right now. So let's talk about the big news and the news that you have not been able to really talk about on the show since it happened. But Ryan being banned from Twitch, obviously we talked about it last week. We mentioned on Out in the Grapes some of the pro-Ryan supporters that bombed our video somewhat early on. I talked about it for a while and had no support from Doug or anybody in my therapy or support.
Are you really surprised, though?
Sometimes Doug's a great friend. Sometimes he's the worst human I've ever met. And he should probably be in prison, actually, for some of the things that he's done to me. Yeah. Some of the physical abuse that has occurred as children. I'm gonna press charges.
I was like, wasn't Doug the bully in your group of friends?
He had no hair but all the rage. I love Doug finishing a glass of, I don't know what that was.
It's just beer.
We're all drinking right now. This is a celebration. Trying to make Renee a regular on the podcast, so we're probably going to go off the rails a few times because we all got an alcoholic beverage. But no, Renee has not been on to really talk about the Ryan stuff. I think since it happened, I think you were on maybe around that time. I can't remember.
I don't remember the last time Renee was on. Maybe.
Well, she was on 2 episodes ago.
Oh.
Well, I guess let's put the story out there, and then we can actually talk about the details of it. So, Ryan got banned from Twitch. They made it, official. I would say the story, broke based on a Twitter account that is just called Streamer Bans, and they have posted for people who were permanently banned or were suspended briefly or who are returning, and they put the length of time they were gone and everything. But that's the first instance that I saw. It was people retweeting this tweet and saying that he was banned from it says Twitch partner Sort of Malicious Gaming. And they actually tagged him in the tweet. Yeah, I hovered over it and it just says something went wrong. I was gonna say I don't think that's an accurate Twitter anymore.
He had his Twitter for a little while.
Well, he deactivated it shortly after. Well, I mean, not shortly, but a little bit after the everything went down. But still, it has been banned, and then there's a follow-up saying that he is no longer partnered with Twitch. So the channel is banned, and he's no longer a partner with Twitch. And then there was several people that, responded to it, sharing the tweet or quote tweeting it. One being Alfredo, that just says, easy fucking clap, and then the clap emoji.
Yeah.
Michael I'm going to say Michael's for last, because I feel like his has the most, has a good, exclamation mark on it.
Yeah.
Lindsay just said, I hope that everyone this nauseating, pathetic fuckhead hurt is granted some relief from this. Jeremy, just, of course, the loud trucks go by as soon as we start. Jeremy shared a GIF of Will Ferrell in, I think, is that Old School? I forget. It's just him saying awesome yes, and he starts punching cereal in a grocery store. So Jeremy obviously celebrating that. But Michael's, and I think there was a couple other people that we probably just missed, but these were like the key ones I guess I saw. Michael said, glad to see Twitch taking action. This man does not deserve a platform to enable him to victimize anyone again. I hope it ends here and gives some amount of closure. If you're an apologist still holding on, don't waste your time replying. Just fuck off. So, a very nice way to end that sentiment. So, yeah. So Ryan is gone. I don't know. I don't think that anyone is necessarily like couldn't see that coming. I actually am a little bit surprised that they did it. I did not. I don't know. I just didn't think that they were actually going to take action before anything occurred. But I don't know. Maybe they just like the Twitter push and the people who have been constantly tweeting at support, or people like what Jackie got and kind of took some heat for the last episode that we were talking about. Maybe enough people who are like partnered with Twitch or have people who are like connections to people at Twitch, like were brought it up enough that they actually took action. But I was kind of surprised to see that they banned him.
I know.
Well, I don't know. Oh, go ahead, Renee.
I was like, I know whenever everybody was sharing to get him banned, they, I guess they had a list of his, like, victims that said, here are, like, the links that you can give them to give more proof to ban him. So, like, Twitch was seeing all of the, like, evidence of him using his Twitch, and I think his mods even reported him for, like, not paying them. So I think that was more of a push, too, because they had full-on hard evidence.
Good. But I know Twitch was cracking down on a lot of streamers, not for like this stuff, just for like general, like I think like talking about gambling, or I don't want to say swearing, but there's some stuff I know Twitch was kind of cracking down on. So this to me is not a huge surprise, but I mean I'm glad they're doing it. But I wish I remembered more why Twitch was like. I think they're just trying to be a little less
open.
Whatever. Yeah.
I think there was like a few of them banned because they were talking about rape and virgins, and they were immediately banned for that.
That was the subject of their Twitch account?
I think there was
Probably.
like multiple videos of them talking about it, and a bunch of them got reported. I don't know whose accounts.
For what? Such an overreaction.
But I don't know who
sick
it
of
was,
this.
but I know people were talking about it in like the strew of like the victims like talking to each other. They were all having this huge like chat about it. And I was like, I don't know whose they were because I've never heard of them and I can't remember their names.
What, do you feel at all surprised that they banned him before like a comeback?
No.
Like, I'm not surprised, like, based on what happened or like people pushing for it. I guess I'm just surprised to see a company take like preemptive action like this. Like, typically these kind of stories always go, the person comes back, then enough people like are bitching about it for a while that they then finally do something about it. Like, it's just usually these stories don't go this direction. It's usually the opposite, where they are given the chance to come back and redeem themselves or whatever, and then maybe enough people bring up that like some of the stuff that he did or some of the proof, and then they actually finally do something about it. So yeah, I'm not surprised in the sense of saying like, I can't believe they did it based on what he did. It's just I'm not used to having this be the story.
I think more companies are being proactive about this kind of stuff because it's no joke anymore. Like, you can't just blow it off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is obviously much different conversation, but obviously there's maybe a little bit more, companies feel a little more emboldened since so many people were willing to ban the now former president of the United States. I mean, they had 2 weeks left at the time, I think, but
They're still gonna do the trials, I think, for that.
Yeah, the impeachment stuff's still gonna happen.
Yeah.
But still, like, Twitter banned his account than Facebook did, and then, like, they took down Parler and all that stuff. I know that's obviously a much different story, but
right,
it's maybe they feel a little more, I don't know, empowered to make these kind of choices when they see these other companies stepping up in a different way, obviously, but still, it's kind of similar. Someone is on your platform or I guess it's abusing your platform, and you take a step to get rid of them, I guess.
I mean, I feel like Twitch did do the ban just because they had evidence of him using his, like, internet fame to do this. So they were like, well, if he comes back on our platform after, like, 3 months, it's gonna go on us. So we're screwed if he does this again. Because I'm assuming, like, thousands probably did this.
Oh, it'd been a real bad look for them.
Yeah. So I'm assuming they did it to, like, keep their, I was trying to move in my chair and I hit my knee.
She's tucked in the corner here.
Yeah.
There's not much, like, from what the camera can see if you're watching us on YouTube, there's not much room left on this side.
I have long legs, so I'm very...
But I assume you're
cramped.
also pushed against the wall, knowing
Almost.
how small that room is.
Yeah, I'm on a leash now because the headphones can only go so far. So I can't go farther back than right here.
Okay. I'll slide over a little bit.
No, give her no room.
You don't deserve it. But, here, we'll look like a real couple that's going to be getting married in a couple months.
Terrible.
Oh, okay. Well, I know who's uninvited. Shit.
No, Doug has to come.
Not anymore. He's on the fence. He's first cut now.
No.
If we need, yeah.
There's people way nuttier than me who need to be first cut.
Yeah. And how does that feel to know that they're ahead of you
No.
for this insult?
No.
Yeah, it would have been a real bad look for them had they, if this much of a hubbub was kind of stirred up prior to him coming back, and then say in a month or two he comes back, because they know obviously it's going to be, the conversation is you let him do, especially if something happens again, but it's like you let him back, or you knew about this and you let it happen again, and they would be complicit in whatever may potentially go down. I know that's a lot of assumptions, like, in a row basically, but still they would have definitely had some issues had something like that occurred later on. So, and plus, I mean, to be honest, what is the real upside for keeping him?
Yeah.
There's not really. I mean, there's obviously, as we know, there's obviously an audience of people who just doesn't think he's done anything wrong. But I'll be completely. I haven't necessarily dug into this, but based on, because I talked about this on Out in the Grapes and I've already mentioned it, like, I think 3 times now. But based on the fact that we had people from I'll call it a pro Ryan video last week come and dislike our video and leave some shit comments. There's a couple of the opinions that I've now been exposed to through that and through the announcement of the ban. And so far, to be honest, no one's actually made a real argument for it. It's pretty clear there's a lot of people that it's an emotional argument where they just don't think he did anything wrong. And it's like, okay, but you're not actually taking in the fact of what happened and what he admitted to. And they're like, yeah,
Right.
he kind of admitted to it. It's like, no. There's a lot of accusations out there. And he said, I've made some mistakes and now I have to correct this. I've destroyed my, like, in different, not all in one statement, but throughout several statements or like screenshots, he's talked about how he's destroyed his family and the mistakes he's made and the things he has to do. And the statement that he put out for what we did on our last episode, where he said, like, he's in all these, like, therapy groups and stuff like that. It's like, clearly he's acknowledging that something fucked up happened. It's even
Right.
No matter what you want to believe about how wrong or right what he did is, he's even saying that what it is wrong. So if you're a devout Ryan follower, then you should at least follow him and saying, I'm trying to take steps to repair my family and repair my life and all this other stuff. So it's,
And the fact that I think there was 2 victims who, after I think a few of them came forward, there were text messages to them from Ryan being like, please don't say it, like, don't say anything, don't come forward.
Wow.
So it was just
I
like,
didn't see that.
yeah, so you're begging people to, like, not come forward because you know it's going to look even worse on you.
yeah, well, there was like an avalanche of people. I know that was a big thing afterward, where there was a couple people that were sharing screenshots that it was basically him giving an update. Some of them, they were like trying to like fish information out of him. Like they were trying to get more details and stuff like that. And that's where, I think that's where it was repeated what he said in the initial thing, saying like, I thought we had a genuine connection and stuff. And I don't know. and obviously, like we talked about before, there's a lot of this that we'll never actually know, and that we never, really should know. It's between the people he did this to and what actions they want to take, and
I mean, there's still more that Achievement Hunter knows than the fans do. Like any scandal that comes out.
Yeah, there's definitely and that's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of information out there that we don't know. So, and we're not gonna know. It's not even our business to really know. Just being a fan, and like especially for her and I, being so invested. I'm wearing my Achieve, like, I don't know, sweatshirt here.
I have Nickelodeon on.
Yeah, so Helga and Ren and Stimpy right up top. But it's like we've obviously invested a lot of time into this, so the curiosity is never gonna like just not be there. It's when something happens to someone you've put a lot of time into. Like, we used to watch his streams all the time. I don't know how many compilations we watched of him being like a great dad, which now have just been diarrheaed on.
I like have a theory that he did that, so if something ever did break, like he would still have some supporters because he was that like wholesome dad person. So
I mean, if he put up those compilations, kids. I would be more inclined to believe that.
No, but like during his streams, like I know some people have been like, oh, his kids, like it was like they were rehearsed coming into his streams.
I mean, that's another thing. We'll never really know the truth, but I personally like when you hear, and this is obviously there's obviously an extreme comparison. I acknowledge that before I even say anything. But when you even see, like, we just watched that, or we talked about on the podcast, we watched that Ted Bundy thing. Mm-hmm. Even, like, a serial killer still doesn't see what they did is wrong most of the time. Or...
He didn't admit anything until, like,
way
a
later.
few hours until his execution.
Yeah, like 10 years later is whenever he actually, like, admitted to something. But even still, you see people who do really terrible things, but they don't see it that, like, they have their own perspective. And it sounds bananas to people like us who would, maybe we'd kill out of self-defense. Like, we know my mom would. She admitted to that.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, maybe like to that level. But if just to straight up find someone and like end their life, it's so baffling to us. And they're like, no, but you don't understand. Like, this is someone that was living a bad life. Like, this is something that had to happen. And you're like, what are you talking about? You're not the one to make that decision. Like, it's so befuddling to anyone who doesn't have that mindset. Mm-hmm. So it's like, still, it's like, I think he does see himself as a good dad, or saw himself as a good dad. Like, I don't know that... And, like, unless he is a true sociopath that doesn't have any emotions or is all about manipulating and everything, like, I just, based on, like, some of the things he said, which is, of course, you're taking a known liar, so who knows what you can read from it, but it's sort of like, I don't know what, like, if you just take his statements as true, like, if he's telling the truth in these statements, like with those screenshots or, like, the people who posted the conversations on Snapchat and stuff, it really does come across where he just did not think he was doing anything wrong the whole time. Mm-hmm. He like that like I just mentioned, the whole genuine connection thing he brought up several times and kept saying, like, I thought this was something that we shared or whatever. And it's like, maybe he actually thought that and didn't realize what he was doing was awful to his family, to his life, to some of the I guess we'll say the claims that are out there that happened, to not get too definitive, but
I just think he's a sociopath. So. And
maybe he is. That's what I say. If you just take what he said as fact, that's how it comes across. But it's also the possibility, obviously, exists of complete psychopathism.
I mean, I replied to somebody, but the way that he worded his like Twitch comeback, it is like how he worded it is how Ted Bundy was towards the press. So I was just like, I just got like weird vibes from him. So I was like, oh.
Well, as I said, like when you're talking about a known liar, you've examined everything they say.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's hard to, even if you took him at his word, it's still, there's still a disconnect. Even if he just didn't realize what was wrong, that's still a problem. Mm-hmm. He's still detached from, like, I don't know, I don't want to say society, but like the way people operate and how people are impacted by stuff. And plus, like we said too, like Achievement Hunter obviously knows more to, so there is more to the story. So there probably is a whole side of this that is worse than what anyone knows. They're just trying not to, I don't want to say bury him, but it's like, they're not just going to air every single piece. Like, just know what he did was fucking gross and he's gone and we want nothing to do with it and we're going to move on from here.
Right. And that's what they need to do. Like, Achievement Hunter just like was like, all right, that happened. He's gone. On to the next thing.
Which, I mean, I would say they've done that other than these moments. Like, the only time I can remember off the top of my head them mentioning him at all is, I think Jeremy mentioned him on a stream once, or, like, hinted at him. I can't remember if Alfredo did, but, like, in actual Achievement Hunter content, or I guess say, like, where they directly reference him or something, is this right now. Him, like, putting out his thing, talking to his supporters or whatever, and then this band is, like, the most I've heard about him from them since this all, like, originally went down.
I wish that they would take down more of his videos.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely hard because he is in so much stuff.
Yeah, but, like, they haven't taken down, like, technical difficulties, like...
I figured they would have by now.
Yeah, they still have them up.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
'Cause I haven't checked since we,
Yeah, well, because
that first week.
Because I went on to one of the, like, pro Ryan videos, and I saw people arguing back and forth, and somebody was just like, yeah, they still have a whole bunch of, like, where Ryan's the thumbnail. And I'm like, I figured they would have been like, Ryan's in the thumbnail. We should probably just delete that, or...
Yeah, it's kind of strange when you're taking down videos that you put up 4 or 5 years ago that he's in. Or, like I think they took down the Faking It video with Millie, where she accidentally admits to skinny dipping.
Yeah, because she, like, misunderstood the question.
And it's like, I think they took that one down that he was in, and I don't know what else comes out. Like, I don't know what else he said in that video. I remember watching it because that was a funny moment. It pops up in, like, best ofs, but
I feel like they can delete, like, they still have the the very first shenanigans video of Ray suggesting to change Ryan's like Xbox tag. They still have that video up, and I'm like, probably delete that one.
That's what I mean. Like, it seems weird to delete those old ones, but not what I would say. Like, I guess, like, the most recent thing that was only him.
Yeah.
It seems like that would be the first thing that you'd want to go.
I don't think they've deleted very many since they, like, said. I mean, it is like the holidays, so they have all those videos and everything's different being at home. So I don't know if, like, maybe once they're in the office they'll do everything. I don't know.
Yeah, because to go back and re-edit all these videos would be a nightmare of an undertaking. It's just easier to get rid of them.
Yeah, because, like, I watched I think it was from, like, 2 years ago, one of, like, the animated AH ones, and Ryan was in it, and I was like, well, this just put me in a bad mood.
And so I'm scrolling back through the Achievement Hunter to see if maybe... I mean, he is in a lot of thumbnails as I'm scrolling through here.
Yeah. I'm like, those ones, I'm like, either re-edit it to put somebody else in there, but I know that they mostly put the thumbnails for, like, the funniest or whoever's in the video the most.
Yeah, it looks like technical difficulties is gone.
Oh, maybe it's, I don't know.
As I'm just quickly scrolling through here, because I'm at 6 months ago. But I mean, like, there's a bunch of the, like, thumbnails that are him. So, I mean, I guess I could just change the thumbnail.
Yeah.
But again, that's still, when they put out at least 2 videos a day, that's a lot of content to go back through your entire catalog where they've been around for such a long time. Yeah,
especially because a lot of their content is all long, like 45 to 2 hours long.
So I'm all the way back at the honest discussion off topic, which was like, what, June?
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like technical difficulties is gone. But there is still a lot of thumbnails
I just wish they would take his thumbnails, because, like, whenever we're scrolling to find something to watch, I'm like, oh, there's his fucking face.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
I'm just happy,
immediately.
I'm just happy you don't say that about me anymore. I'm happy someone is here with a lightning rod.
I do in my head.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't hurt me because I don't know about it.
And then I text Doug, and I'm like, this fucking asshole, man.
That's fine, though. As long as I don't see it, it can't hurt me. So you don't say it out loud anymore. So it's nice to have the lightning rod that you... That attracts
it's at
that.
somebody else now.
Yeah. See, that helps our relationship. That's why I proposed.
Marriage.
Marriage. But, yeah, so I think it's safe to say none of us are upset to see him get banned from Twitch.
Not at all.
Because I do still, like what Alfredo said when he made his statement is still, I think, the best point you can make is that having a Twitch account and having followers, people subscribe to you or donate to you and stuff like that. Like, that's not a normal life. Like, and of course, yeah, just let him live his normal life and let him disappear. It's like, just let him go. Just let him drift off. And people are like fighting for him to come back to Twitch and still making the argument that like he has to have a life, which was really the crux of, or a big part of what Alfredo was saying.
Yeah, but everyone's not a streamer, so obviously they can make a living off of a job.
Yeah. And that's what his point is. Like, that is not a normal life to lead. That's an elevated position to hold in, like, I don't know, I guess like society or something. But I'm not against this by any means, and I think that's been made pretty clear based on our conversation right now. But as I know we rehashed some stuff, but also we have a lady here that can give a lady's perspective on a known creep, I guess we can call him.
Yeah.
It's a proven creep, and so far we've just had two dude perspectives since I think since it happened. I don't think
I don't think I ever talked about it. Like, we talked about it, but I don't.
Oh
think
yeah, we talked about it a lot.
Yeah, but I don't think I was like ever on the podcast talking about it.
I don't think so. It's like, I feel like for some reason I want to say you were on the episode when we talked like when it happened. But I don't know for sure.
No, I think whenever it happened, I was getting information about it, but I don't think I was on the actual podcast.
I'm going to try to look up real fast, because it's very important.
I mean,
Because maybe we did. It's really hard to keep track of...
the, like, 3 podcasts I've been on?
No, it's hard to keep track of what we've talked about when and with who. Like, I understand doing this podcast, the RT Talk, or no, Jesus Christ, the RT podcast or the Drunk Tank, where Bernie would, or Gus or whoever would start with, I think we talked about this on a podcast, and then they would go into it. I understand that so much because I never remember what we've talked about, because as another thing I know we talk about all the time is how much we talk before and after the episode. So there's stuff that we say when we sit down that I don't remember if it was recorded or what like it pertained to or anything like that. But still, it's I think it's important to get the lady perspective, regardless of the fact that she just has her leg on my desk right now. Not that anyone can see it, but
I made sure nobody could see it before I did it.
good.
I inched my way up.
Okay, no, it was Doug that was on that one. So, yeah. So yeah, Renee, not pro Ryan.
No.
And
no, because I mean, it's a trust thing, and I've dealt with creeps, and so yeah. Yeah.
For those just listening, I raised my hand.
But yeah, it's if somebody breaks your trust, especially with me, I haven't spoken to my mom's side of the family since I was 19, so I don't really deal with things. I just go, okay, you're gone, bye.
I don't know how much is getting picked up, but both dogs are trying to like climb into our laps right now, and they keep stepping on loud objects. I keep trying to shoo them away. I don't even know. She may have popped up on camera. I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't hear them.
Okay, good. There's like, I don't know what they're stepping on. There's like a plastic bag or something, or a plastic something. That.
All the trash you threw.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's right here. We're good. But yeah, I'm sure that we'll probably have a similar reaction to this that we did for the last one, where the people who like Ryan will come out and like that was one of the comments we got, was about how like people just want this to go away, but they just keep talking about it. And it's like, well, yeah, because things keep happening. It's not like we're just sitting around dwelling on the initial event the entire time. It's he's announcing a comeback, and then he's getting like things are occurring. It's not just
right.
I feel like if people are still supporting Ryan, then they're not an actual like Achievement Hunter fan. They're just holding on to that hope that somebody's lying and Ryan's not this bad person, and then they're gonna look like this true fan.
Or there could be people too, because one thing I've noticed, which to me seems like, I don't know how they wouldn't know this, but it's also possible too that they just aren't as informed as a lot of people are, and maybe they just think, oh, he cheated on his wife. Yeah. Like maybe that's all they think happened, and they're like, oh, but why did he get kicked out of Achievement Hunter for that? And the reason I say that is because I forget who's, it may have been actually when I was pulling up the tweets to read them, like people's reaction. One of the tweets was from someone goes, "What did Ryan do?" And I was like, how do you not know that? Like, that was such a big story. I talked about, I don't know if I know you and I talked about it, but one of our friends who does not watch Rooster Teeth at all has like a very basic idea of what it is. He knows we do this podcast. He texted me whenever it happened. He goes, "I just heard some guy from Rooster Teeth did something. What happened?" And like, and this was like the Monday whenever everything first occurred. And I was like, "Well, we don't know much right now." And I gave him like the rundown of what we knew at the time.
And my sister texted me about Adam.
Yeah, well, she'll ask you randomly about people. She's like, "What's happening with Gavin?"
Yeah, even though she hates Gavin because he's with Meg, so it makes
she has a lot of interesting opinions.
She's great.
She's probably one of the people that left the one of the comments on our last video.
Probably.
Those are fun. So, but I'm sure we'll probably get a similar reaction to this one. We've shared a negative Ryan opinion, so
if somebody supports Ryan Haywood, go fuck yourself.
No, fuck off, is what Michael said.
Well, I'm saying go fuck yourself.
Follow the doctrine of Michael Jones.
The first.
Yeah. Well, I kind of started to say it, but yeah, so far, the people I've seen defending him don't really have... They don't have a real argument. It seems like it's mostly based on emotion or, again, like they don't have the whole story sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like... Like, I know there was someone that Alfredo was going back and forth with, but then they deleted their Twitter, so... It's kind of the ultimate I surrender. I've been watching Queen's Gambit, so it's kind of like laying your king down. So it's just like, it just signals, okay, there's only one person who made an intelligent reference right now, and everyone else was shaking their head at him. You guys don't even know chess. God.
I did it because Renee was doing it.
Because we're cool. That's why we don't know chess.
Uh-huh. That's why?
My lightning rod is going to go back to you now.
Your lightning rod?
Yeah.
Or your lightning?
Both.
In your fucking face.
Go fuck yourself.
This is what you get when Renee's on the podcast. We fake bicker. Mm-hmm. So, I guess we've well covered that subject.
Yeah, it's been 35 minutes.
Well, I don't know. This has been recording longer than we've actually been going. So, the synopsis, basic gist of it is, we are in favor of the ban. It makes sense to do. They're covering their ass. There's no upside to keeping him and keeping him on there. There's only kind of negative possibilities. And the people who are devoutly supporting him and fighting with people, kind of like I talked about on Out in the Grapes, like the QAnon people, just show me something you're talking about. If you really want to make an argument that what he did wasn't a problem, try to prove it. Just don't just make a bullshit argument. Or
the people who support Ryan are the ones that get catfished and are 100% they know that they're not being catfished, but they're being catfished by like their second cousin. That
was pretty deep. That happened to you? That was really specific.
No, but it was on Catfished.
Oh, is that show still going?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for them. But yeah, so let's go into I guess since this is related to last week's episode, we'll go to the next thing that is also related to last week's episode. I gotta stop saying that. Last episode. There was no episode last week. Yeah. So we mentioned Monty's brother and the GoFundMe that happened because he was had his car stolen, and I think now I have to remember the story. He got hit by the car, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was bounced off the hood of the car and sustained injuries, including chipped teeth, lost teeth, and 17 stitches. So we talked about it, and the goal was $5,000 to help with his medical expenses, and obviously he lost his car and all that. And I don't remember what it was at the time. I know it was pretty close to the goal, and I just figured it was worth mentioning an update for it's where it stands now. So as of right now, I don't know how GoFundMe works. I don't know if this is closed or not. I see the last donations were a week ago.
No, it's still open.
Oh yeah, I guess you can't donate still. So the goal was $5,000. Actually, let me refresh just to make sure it's completely okay. So it is at $15,175. So 3 times the amount that they were hoping to get. So I'm very glad to see that the people who were aware of this happening and everything stepped up, and he got well beyond what was needed or what they were asking for, because obviously that was a pretty terrible story. And as we went into everything last episode, it's obviously his brother is such a big part of the history of Rooster Teeth, and obviously he's very involved in the community and has a lot of friends and connections throughout the community and everything. So,
well, that should be enough money to at least help him get another car on top of like his bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, depending on what the medical bills are, because as we know, medical things are wildly overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
it's just for instance, Renee suffers from migraines, and a couple times we've had to go to the ER for her to get an IV, which is just a cocktail of medicine that they just pump into her, and that cocktail is $1,000. $2,000, and we're there for like maybe an hour and a half, and it's $2,000. So, for an IV. So yeah, it's things can get expensive really fast. But I would hope that $15,000 covers everything medical. He has nothing to worry about. At least in that aspect, and yeah, at least has something to put towards replacing his car, because yeah, that's a terrible situation. But it's nice. It's nice, especially in a year. I know we're in 2021, but post 2020, to have at least some latch onto whatever positive news you can, because there's been a lot of negative things you can focus on. I guess we'll go right into the Kent news, because it sounds very negative, but it actually has a positive turn to it. So, like you said, Kent Cook, who I guess he must be like an Achievement Hunter, like producer or something. Like you said, I think he's edited too. Mm-hmm. It's when you watch like Between the Games or anything, a lot of times you'll see him pop up like in those videos in like the support room and everything.
He is, I believe, one of the first ones on Extra Life, because his son has.
Yeah, he's on there like every year.
Yeah, his son has a heart disability, like something's wrong with his heart. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know that he was posting something about it was a couple weeks ago, I think, something about like the doctor they went to.
Yeah, his son's doctor passed away, so they had to find a new doctor.
But yeah, he tweeted this, and the tweet reads, "It's been almost 5 years since I joined Achievement Hunter. I've cherished every moment of it, but it's time for the next chapter of my life. I'm excited to announce I'll be moving to a new role in the business development and sales department of Rooster Teeth." So he went through and thanked different people in like a follow-up tweet and everything. But as I said, it sounds like a more like a sad story, but it actually is has a positive twist, because he's actually moving on up to the business development and sales department for Rooster Teeth. So obviously that means I think it's safe to say he won't be in the Between the Games anymore. He'll probably still pop up on Extra Life, I would imagine, but
I'm sure if he's slightly happy, he's not going to get sprayed with silly string or have moonballs thrown at him when they go to the
with a lightsaber
room.
Having Smarty dust cloud his entire desk, having peanut butter thrown at him.
Yeah, all the
having the dick stuck to the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of interesting setbacks to being in the support room of Achievement Hunter. But yeah, so it's a quick story, but I felt like since it sounds rather negative, that maybe we should cover that earlier as opposed to later, and have it be lingering there. I guess I'll just go through a couple of the quick ones. So the real canon is out as of the recording of this on January 22nd. So they actually have the first episode out. I know they did their usual thing where a lot of the other podcasts on the Rooster Teeth like umbrella of podcasts posted I don't know if it's just a teaser or if it was the first episode, but I saw a couple of those putting out like that episode of Real Canon, same way they did for Red Web, and I want to say like Black Box Down and Face Jam, and yeah, it's like pretty much any podcast that's they've made in the last year or so, they've done that for. And I saw that one pop up, and I put it on my list before it came out, and I put the date down as 1/22, and I was like, it's coming out. It actually has a date now, and then I realized we're recording this on 1/22, so that kind of defeat the purpose of talking about like it finally having a release date, but it's out. So I think they talked about WandaVision, which we have not watched yet.
Yeah, we have not.
We will though. I mean, it's only a matter of time before we get to the Marvel shows. The other quick thing I was going to mention was Red Web Radio, because they were teasing it for a while, and I was I was very interested and very engaged with what Red Web Radio was going to be. Now, based on the name and based on what it is, you go, oh yeah, I guess that does make sense. I was in the dark because the way they teased it was they had, and maybe they actually said what it was beforehand. I just missed it, so I was in the dark. But it was like an animated, basically what you would like if you imagined in your head what a detective's like office looks like in every movie, with like a table with like paperwork and stuff and folders and like things are open and pictures all over, and they have like the whiteboard or a bulletin board or something in the back. But it was animated Trevor and Alfredo like being, I think like Alfredo's sitting at the desk and like going through stuff, and Trevor's like standing and like looking down at it. And it was animated, so like they're sitting there and like I think every once in a while like Trevor would like reach and like look through something. So it was like, and it was just, they teased it for a while, but then it went up and it was that, I guess, looped that animation with like lo-fi beats or something, something like that. So I was like, oh, I thought this was gonna be an announcement of like this much bigger thing of like, this is gonna be how we're gonna do the show from now on, or we're introducing like this animated version of this, or whatever it was gonna be, is what I was like anticipating. And I was like, oh, it's literally just Red Web Radio. They're just playing. I forget how long the actual video was. It was it had a decent length to it.
Usually his lo-fi channel is maybe like an hour, a couple hours long.
Yeah.
I think, was it on the Achievement Hunter channel?
I think it was.
Yeah, it was 59 minutes and 47 seconds. It's mysterious, chill, lo-fi beats to relax, study, investigate to. So I'll put the so Doug can see.
I saw it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you saw it.
Fuck you, Mike.
This is what I get every time I try to help him. This is what happens.
No, I was just letting you know I did see it. I was curious what it was.
See how he changed his tone? This is why you're a cusper on the wedding now. That's what you'll be saying as we're pushing you out the door. Hey, what are we going to do?
You will. I'll keep inviting Doug back.
And we'll just keep going in and out, and I'll just keep pushing him back out. You'll invite him back in.
Who's going to eject me?
I'm going to call the police.
Wow.
I'm going to request a taser. I want them to drop you on the dance floor. All right, you're in. The next thing we're to talk about, and there's a little more information to this one, but it is sort of like a quick one too, is the DC and Ruby crossover comic that'll be coming out. This was one of the things, like, especially since they're under like the Warner Brothers, or I guess under the same company as Warner Brothers, these type of things like pop up all the time, but they still surprise me every time they do happen. I don't know what these dogs are doing.
I don't know.
There's something over there.
A lot of fans actually didn't know that they were underneath the umbrella for Warner Brothers, because this got released, and they're like, oh, I wish it was Marvel and blah blah blah, and people are like, bro,
it's not really how this works. So I'll read, like, I have comicbook.com has an article about it, so I'll just read the kind of like two paragraphs where they break it down. So it says, the crossover between the world of anime and comic books will be taking place in April of this year via a 7-issue miniseries that doesn't just see worlds colliding, but also will give the members of the Justice League an anime makeover, with the heroes looking far different from what we've seen in the past. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, and Cyborg will be given some anime makeovers that range from slight to extensive, as Bruce Wayne's look specifically gives him actual bat ears. The actual description of this upcoming crossover between the world of anime and the world of comics reads as such. Ruby/Justice League introduces fans of manga and superheroes to the Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, Diana Prince of Remnant. What?
It should be Princess.
Okay, well, fighting with Team Ruby. A new Grim is running rampant across the island of Patch, and Ruby... they spelled... Oh, never mind. Idiot. I said they spelled Ruby wrong, but that's actual Ruby, not Team Ruby. Ruby and Yang must team up with a young red and blue-clad farm boy to stop it. Meanwhile, Blake meets a mysterious woman who's suddenly appeared on Menagerie. Yeah. But her purpose for being there remains a secret. And why does she act like she hasn't been around modern society? And then they go, like I said, it's a much longer article, but that's sort of the synopsis for it. So, these are the things, like, I don't know, I guess as like a long-term Rooster Teeth fan, I always like whenever you see Rooster Teeth things pop up in the bigger, I don't know, I guess mainstream sort of stuff, like the Justice League, Warner Brothers, that kind of stuff, or like, you know, I know we pretty much say the same thing every time these things happen, but like when they did the Shark Week immersion, things like that, like I always like when they hit like a mainstream level and or introduced. Now, obviously, comics also have how many different versions of themselves. Like there's how many like graphic novels and stuff, or like if you want to like learn about Venom, there's not like just one comic book that you can learn about Venom. There's 700 like authors and illustrators and different stories that are told. So this is like a ripe format for this like crossover offshoot of both things. But still, I like seeing this kind of stuff. I think it's pretty interesting. I don't know if we'll necessarily read it, but if I come across it, I will. We're not.
I'm sure. Yeah, if you stop in Barnes and Noble and you see it, pick it up.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's when we go there to look around and walk out with 6 books apiece. 6 books I will not read, by the way. I might read one of them the next 2 to 3 years, but I just.
A comic book you can digest real quick. You just.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like if we go in there for that purpose and I come across it, that's probably whenever. What was it? 6 or 7? I don't remember. I just read it. I don't remember which one it was.
There's 7.
Is it 7? Okay. Yeah, 7-issue miniseries. So, yeah. I mean, we were talking about graphic novels on Out in the Grapes this week, and that's like I like graphic novels. I know I went through a couple of them before, but yeah, if I come across it, I'll definitely read it. I mean, I'm not. I like certain comic books, but for the reason I just listed, that it's hard. It's not like if you wanted to watch the Captain America movies. There's 10 different directors and actors playing Captain America. And you're like, okay, which one is like the right one? Like, which one's the one to follow? Like, they're all different, their own, sometimes self-contained stories, and it's hard to know which ones. So you just kind of get, like, recommendations off of, like, this series. Like, that's why I read the Civil War series. Because it's like, no, here's the, like, the issues and stuff like that. But...
Well, Spider-Man's had how many origin stories now? 3?
Well, the story remains mostly the same. I mean, there's Miles Morales, but typically they stick to the same framework for it with like Uncle Ben and everything else like that. But yeah, it has been like redone a number of times. Like, 'cause I was reading that too. There was a Spider-Man. This was years ago, but there was one that they like started over basically, and it was like it was like a new. Illustration, so like the super graphic, really detailed illustrations, but it was like at the very beginning of it, and I don't remember how many issues that I read, but it was I was enjoying it when I did. But you know, comic book movies are much easier to digest and be thrilled by. But I still love a good comic book, but I don't seek them out, which is why I was like, I know I more than likely won't be reading this one unless I just happen upon it. But it still does not change the fact that I like it. Pretty much.
Right.
Are you going to read it?
I might.
Okay. She's a much bigger reader than me.
I am.
From now on, the episodes you're on the podcast, I want that to be your entire opinion. Will you do it?
I might.
Probably. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. Do you like that? No. All right. Just a real quick.
Just one-worded answers.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, since I'm a female, I shouldn't have an opinion?
I'm glad you picked up on that. Yeah. Happy you interpreted that. That's exactly what I was trying to say. So if you could just be quiet, that'd be great.
Cancel Mike.
No, don't do it.
Hashtag cancel Mike.
The last thing we're going to talk about is Dead Little Roosters, because these dogs will not stop walking around and kicking things and knocking things. And
quit being a cunt.
Oh. We get demonetized on YouTube.
You're welcome.
We're going to get monetized and then demonetized. Dogs, go lay down, please. Find a spot that's comfortable instead of getting up and down.
Go lay down.
It's just staring at us. They do not care. There's the plastic. So we'll talk about Dead Little Roosters a little bit because they're on episode...
It'll be 3 tonight.
Is it on Fridays? I thought it was Thursdays. But yeah, they're only on the 3rd episode, so it hasn't been going very long. But her and I have been watching it, and so there's not a whole lot to say, and we're not going to give away anything, so you don't have to worry about like who was killed or anything.
Yeah,
but
we're not playing along either.
Yeah, we have.
Why not?
So the clues are like it would take a lot of research, even though we do watch. I mean, we mostly watch Achievement Hunter, so there's certain things that we understand. There's references we obviously get, but some of the clues, like I forget what, because Josh Flanagan's been tweeting a lot about it and like interacting with people about the show, and like there was one thing he was talking about, like the way you interpreted a clue had to do with like something, interpreting like episodes of Red versus Blue and a thing that happened to a specific character, and like it was pretty detailed. It's like that's really cool. I love that they're doing that, but just to get like that involved in every single thing, it's like I have a hard time finding subjects to talk about in the podcast because it's just like subject to dive deep into stuff. A lot of times it's just like it takes so much time, and it's like, so it's like I love that they do that, and I love that attention to detail they put into the clues, but I try to look for. I'm not just like blindly watching it. I try to look for more watching. I just don't pick up on anything. It's the first one. The first person killed off, when you heard the clue for it, you go, okay, I can see how that one. The second one, I go, there's nothing in that would have led me to believe that was a person. So it's like I'm pretty much in the dark. So it's like I guess my answer is I'm too stupid.
I have a feeling who it is, but I don't have proof besides one thing.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a wild theory.
Okay.
What if this is how they bring back Bernie?
That'd be amazing.
That'd be wild. They did tease Eric as Bernie. Just saying. That'd be wild.
Yeah, no. I mean, it would be, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Look, I just want him to come back.
Bernie's off in whatever foreign country he's in right now.
That's what he wants you to think.
I assume he moved to Scotland. So we ever talked about was moving to Scotland.
That, I mean, Ashley used to live in Australia. Someone, whenever they were posting pictures on Instagram, someone was talking about how beautiful New Zealand is. Like, so a comment that was on it. So I don't know if they were just guessing,
I don't know.
or what. But yeah, maybe that was just a stage setting, and they just wanted us to think that's where they were, so they could secretly do Dead Little Roosters.
What if the background of like Bernie and Ashley's photos are the actual backgrounds for Dead Little Roosters?
This is why we're not playing. We're not good at this. That's the short and the long answer. But how are you feeling about Dead Little Roosters, and how would you compare it to 10 Little Roosters and 11 Little Roosters? Did we finish? Oh, we didn't. I didn't finish 11. Did you?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I like it, but there's a small thing I don't like, and it's how different the times. I mean, we'll have to see how long the episode tonight is, but I don't like how like one of them was like 20 minutes long, and then last week's episode was 8 minutes long, and I'm like, I don't like that.
I assume they'll probably all be shorter.
Are there any of them on the free?
First episode's free on YouTube. The rest of them,
Gaslight plans.
The rest of them are all on the first website. So
because I watched the other two, so I enjoy. This is one of the things I really enjoy that the Rooster Teeth does. I just was waiting for it all to come out, but it's gonna be like 6 months from now. I can watch it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I my guess is that the first episode was longer. One, because it's all the introductions and it's setting up everything.
Yeah.
And it's also the first episode, so like, hey, the big episode. My guess is everything going forward is probably going to be like probably closer to 8 minutes. Maybe it's like 12 or something, but that's what I'm assuming is going to happen.
I do like how they kept like they're themselves and not like a character.
Yeah, that's what surprised, because when we talked about it leading up to Dead Little Roosters, I was saying how they looked like almost like old-timey characters, much closer to what you would expect in like a whodunit style murder, like Clue. Like that's how they were dressed and everything. But when it started, they were just themselves. Like they're playing themselves. So like Michael and Lindsay are Michael and Lindsay. They're the married couple who works at Achievement Hunter.
I love Michael's character. Like I love it.
I realized watching it, it's like I think we just need a scripted Michael and Lindsay like show.
Yeah.
Where they're playing characters and like acting, because it's like they both play. Well, it's funny, they play themselves.
Yeah.
Like this exaggerated version of themselves very well.
Yeah.
But no, it's the humor in it so far. It's like there's been several moments that have made me actually like laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like a chuckle. Like I audibly laughed. And,
actual laughter.
Yeah, actual real laughter.
Yeah. I haven't decided because like, I get bored at work, so all I do is sit on TikTok for half the day. So I don't know if like maybe just one day I'll just go back and rewatch and like try and figure out who did it. So I'm like, I don't know. But
I didn't see what the clue is for this episode.
Yeah. I just, like, that's my only complaint, is I wish that all the episodes were, like, 15, 20 minutes long and not 8.
So you want them to be like an hour and a half?
Yeah.
You want a full, essentially a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming with how big the show is too, it's kind of designed to be shorter.
Yeah.
There's a lot, like, they don't want to give away too much for a murder mystery.
I think they threw everything together within like 2 months' time.
Yeah, I know that I think they've tweeted about it, or they talked about it on something like because they shot it all in those like what are they called? Like, not, I think it's like remote offices or whatever. It's like a portable office thing that they have. That's where they shot the whole thing, in those rooms.
Yeah, because they did all the scenes separately, so nobody was together. Everybody had to get tested before they came.
Yeah. Also, I feel like this is related to what we're talking about, but also there's reasons I say this beyond what we're talking about. But Alfredo has become like my one of top 3 favorite personalities at Rooster Teeth. In like the last, I don't know, like I've always liked him, and then I was like really like him, but something about like the last last month or two is just like, I just like everything he's in, I really enjoy. And like his character in Dead Little Roosters makes me laugh a lot. Like when they're playing like Among Us or something, or in Gmod, it's like he makes me laugh. Watching his streams makes me laugh. I guess he's Odorf now.
Yeah.
They were playing Among Us, and he spelled Fredo backwards, and that's what so his name is Odorf, and he was talking in the third person. And he's just like, Odorf don't kill. Like, walking out.
Like Lindsay and occasionally Fiona are like the chaos in an episode. Fredo is like, he plays it serious for, I don't know, like 5-10 minutes, and then he goes, I'm bored, I'm gonna have fun.
Well, I would say he doesn't necessarily go even serious anymore, because he even talked, I think it was either on stream or in one of the videos, he said that he plays a game, or no, I think it was his stream, because he was talking about Among Us, and he said Among Us was a game that people played seriously, and that's when it started not being fun, because everyone gets so mad when they're getting voted out, and their crewmate, or
that's why
when they've been voted out. It's like when they get voted out and they haven't done anything as an imposter or whatever. It's like, he said, like, that's what started getting kind of annoying. And then he said that, like, when he plays games, he likes to play it to see if he's able to play it, like, well. And then now, like, once he learns that he can play it well, he will now just play for, like, bits and stuff like that. Because that's what they've been doing on his stream, and then they did it for Achievement Hunter, which I think they're doing a stream tomorrow, too. Or, like, Alfredo and the crew, because that's the one I think is supposed to have Jeremy in it, or Jeremy and Kat.
Yeah, I think so.
That'd be the day this comes out. So by the time people are seeing this, it may have already been over, but you can watch the VOD of it. But he was saying, like, they on his streams and on Achievement Hunter, they just recently started doing the proximity chat in Among Us, and it leads to a lot of really funny moments. And there's like the one we watched where Jack was chasing Barbara around, and Alfredo was the imposter, and he was sitting there, and she goes like screaming by. And then he went and chased. He's like, who's chasing you? She's like, Jack, he won't leave me alone. He goes,
Meg. It was Meg.
Was it Meg?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it was on a stream.
But like, there's like, oh, it was Jack. He's been following me. He goes, this man right here, and he just cuts him in half immediately because he was the imposter. He's like, justice had to be served. So it's like he just goes for like these really funny bit moments. So he doesn't, like, I would say Alfredo basically is like Lindsay's like chaos almost out of confusion, because she doesn't like fully understand the game.
Yeah.
Or sometimes she just makes a wild choice, like in so like some of the GTAs and stuff, after she does like understand the game. Alfredo is intentionally like, how can I ruin everything? But his is, I think, a different level, because he has played like, well, Rainbow Six specifically, he's played at a professional level. But like certain games he plays at a very high level, so he knows like intricate details about some stuff. So he gets really into the nitty-gritty of different games, and he uses that to his advantage a lot of times, and leads to a lot of really funny moments. But yeah, he's like, him and Dead Little Roosters, his character makes me laugh. It's just like, every time I see Alfredo in something, like I'm like, oh, Alfredo's in this one. Like now it's becoming like, I don't know, there's an extra level of I guess a fan of his that I've become, and maybe it's just from watching so many streams, because we have watched a lot of his streams. But I'm liking Alfredo I don't know, it's not even that recent, but I've just been liking him a lot. I get excited when he's in stuff. And I'm waiting for the sequel to Odorf.
Yeah.
I can't wait for them to get an Odorf shirt.
I can make it for him.
Yeah, Renee got a cricket, so she's all about making things. So maybe she'll make me an
for Doug.
Odorf.
Except for Doug.
Well, you should make me Odorf with the white Among Us guy on it. Although they asked that people not buy merch for...
There's a lot of people who are making and buying Among Us merch.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to comment on all of them and be like, hey guys.
Stop.
I'm sure they'll take that well.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for my list and the things that I
Did you
had to
bring
talk
anything, Doug?
Like the 3 things I saw was on Mike's list.
What were those things?
Ryan, and then the guy moving departments. That was it.
I feel like Doug is the guy, like, we like, hey, listen to this episode and then just tell us what we talked about. Like, Ryan did something and the guy moved from here to there. Someone killed a rooster or something. It's there was a radio station that started. The Justice League is fighting Ruby, I think.
Well, the radio thing, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know. I thought that maybe they were going to try to make it sound like an old-timey radio. I had no real guess because I saw like the image and I was like, all right.
That's why I didn't know what it was either, and the fact that like Trevor kept talking about it, that's why I thought it was gonna be a much bigger like event, and that's why I didn't realize they were just gonna put out a hour-long like chill radio video. I was like, oh, well, that's not what I was expecting, but you do you, I guess. But yes, that is it for this week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all of our new subscribers because we only have, I don't know, 6 videos on YouTube or something like that. We don't have very many. And we've been slowly collecting subscribers, but last episode of RT Talk has done well for us, like, you know, way more views than we've gotten on a lot of our videos, but specifically our first one. So a lot of views, and with that came a lot of subscribers for our small channel. So welcome aboard. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we will be back in 2 weeks with another episode. And again, Out of the Grapes every Wednesday. Doug looked confused. I don't know what happened.
Something on my computer just moved.
I thought you were like, what? Because you made that face right after I said 2 weeks, and I thought you were like, that's not right.
No. It's all good.
Yeah, so 2 weeks for RT Talk, every Wednesday for Out in the Grapes, and that's it. Thank you, Renee, for joining us.
Thanks, Renee.
You're welcome. I was bullied into being here.
That's true. Are you gonna be on next week?
I don't know.
Don't push your luck.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Wait, you don't have one next week.
All right, next
In
episode.
your face.
I'm messing up weeks and episodes.
Yeah, I'll be on next week.
All right.
Goodbye.
# cancel Mike.